Everybody hates me because I am so universally liked. I love being a writer. What I can't stand is the paperwork. The value of marriage is not that adults produce children, but that children produce adults. What people believe is a measure of what they suffer. Human nature is pretty shabby stuff, as you may know from introspection. Before the mind snaps, or the heart breaks, it gathers itself like a clock about to strike. It might even be said one pulls himself together to disintegrate. I write when I'm inspired, and I see to it that I'm inspired at 9 o'clock every morning. There are times when parenthood seems nothing more than feeding the hand that bites you. It is the final proof of God's omnipotence that He need not exist in order to save us. The universe is like a safe to which there is a combination, but the combination is locked up in the safe. Who of us is mature enough for offspring before the offspring themselves arrive? The value of parenthood is not that adults produce children but that children produce adults. We are not primarily put on this earth to see through one another, but to see one another through. My father hated radio and could not wait for television to be invented so he could hate that too. I made a tentative conclusion. It seemed from all of this that uppermost among human joys is the negative one of restoration, not going to the stars, but learning that one may stay where one is. A suburban mother's role is to deliver children obstetric ally once, and by car forever after. The murals in restaurants are on par with the food in museums. Why is the awfulness of families such a popular reason for starting another? We all learn by experience, but some of us have to go to summer school. So we were back in the children's pavilion, and there was again the familiar scene. The mothers with their nearly dead, the false face of mercy, the slaughter of the innocents. Let us hope that a kind providence will put a speedy end to the acts of God under which we have been laboring. The greatest experience open to man then is the recovery of the commonplace. Coffee in the morning and whiskies in the evening again without fear. Books to read without that shadow falling across the page. Deep down, he's shallow. Confession is good for the soul only in the sense that a tweed coat is good for dandruff. It is a palliative rather than a remedy. Nostalgia isn't what it used to be. You believe what you must in order to stave off the conviction that it's all a tale told by an idiot. Wanted to be bored to death, as good a way to go as any. The rich aren't like us, they pay less taxes. When I can no longer bear to think of the victims of broken homes, I begin to think of the victims of intact ones. We must love one another, yes, that's all true enough, but nothing says we have to like each other. Words fashioned with somewhat over-precise diction are like shapes turned out by a cookie cutter. Murals in restaurants are on a par with the food in museums. The tuba is certainly the most intestinal of instruments, the very lower bowel of music. The satirist shoots to kill while the humorist brings his prey back alive and eventually releases him again for another chance. Pain is the question mark turned like a fishhook in the human heart. Celibacy is the worst form of self-abuse. Gluttony is an emotional escape, a sign something is eating us. The bonds of matrimony are like any other bonds, they mature slowly.